400. Okay, so they say there are 79 grade 10 learners at a school. So you can see my 79 there on the outside. All of the learners like either pop, Quaker, or rap music or combination. So then they say the number who like Quaker is 41. So guys, that's the total, right, of the K circle. That's the 41. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people just putting a 41 there. Lovely. 41 people like Quaker, so I'm going to put a 41 there. No. Okay, then you actually end up doing that. If you put the totals in the only spots, when you add all your numbers together, you're going to get something much bigger than 7. Okay. So this total, if you want to, you can just put it like kind of on the outside of the K circle, just in pencil, and you can be raising in. The total of that circle is 41, but we can't pull that in yet. The total for RAF is 36, but again, we can't pull that in yet because the RAF circle consists of actual 4 parts, right, that all need to add together to give 36. 30 like pop. What is something excluded? No.
I don't.
And they say all of them learners like either one of those 3 types of music. Yeah. Okay, so then they say the number who like pop and rap is 16. So that means that this whole section must be equal to 16. So again, I can't pull that in yet. All right. The number who like Python and rap is 6. So that whole section must be 6. There are 8 learners who like pop only, so we could pull that in. And 16 who like rap only, so we could pull that in. Okay, so those 2 values were actually given. I'm just going to highlight those. So the 8 was given and the 16 was given. So you could pull those right on the top. So now, guys, since they didn't give you the full intersection of all 3, the overlapping bit, you would have to make that equal to 8. Okay, so once you pull in your 8 and your 16, you've read through all the information. You've made sure that they're not telling you how many people like all 3. Then you're going to put that equal to X. Then you're going to work your way out, right? I feel like I did miss something.
I think this is way.
Or maybe I just calculate. Yeah, okay.
Work out the 14.
Yeah, it's fine. Let me just go step by step. Okay, so we make that equal to X, right? Now, guys, they told us, sorry about that. They told us that 16 people like pop and rap. So if that's X, that has to be 16 minus X. All fine with that. They told us 6 people like fighter and rap. So if that's X, that needs to be minus X. Okay. Now, if you are looking at that and you had your 16 here, at this point already, guys, if we're now ignoring those 2 values, we didn't have those 2 values yet. You had all 4 parts of the rap circle, right? You knew the 16 because that was given. You had a 16 minus X, you had an X, and you had a 6 minus X. So you could use that because they also told us that the total for rap is 36. You could make all of that, when you're adding all of that together, equal to 36. And then using that information, okay, I think I did it on the side here. So this is all or these are the 4 parts of the minus X plus. Why do I feel like I'm listening often? 16 minus X plus 6 minus X plus 16. I left out my plus X, but it looks like I worked with it, even though I didn't write it. Yeah, sorry. So I didn't write the plus X, but it is supposed to be there. Okay, so those are the 4 parts, right? We had 16 minus X, we had 6 minus X, 16, and X. Those are the 4 parts making up the rap circle. Okay. Equal to 36, they called it that process. So there you'll see that the minus X and plus X will cancel out. You're left with negative X on this side. And then on the other side, you're just going to say 36 minus 16 minus 6 minus another 6. And you're left with negative. Okay, so X is 2. Fine. So there we now can pull in everything that was now in terms of X. Since we know that X is 2, we can actually calculate those values. So that is 2, 16 minus 2 is 14, and 6 minus 2 is 4. Okay. They told us that the number of people who like, did they say that? No, they didn't tell us anything about pop and fiber. So now you actually have to work with, because now we had all of that, right? All of that information. We had 8 and 14 and 2, and we know that the total is 50. So I can get that value just by saying 50 minus 8 minus 40 minus 2. Yes, so that's how I got that 6. And then I did the same thing here. I now had for Quito, I know that the total is 41 minus 6 minus 2 minus 4. And that's value. Okay. Comments, questions, concerns? Nothing?
I managed to work up yesterday. No idea. I may
Yes.
work out.
Yeah. Yeah. If I do that,
Trying to add all up
yeah.
and add up the fixes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Then I have to choose.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yes, that's fine. Yeah. So it's basically one rock per and obviously if they ask, because sometimes they'll say, like, say this question, sometimes they say for A, and if it was a question where you had to know it. So we couldn't just kind of figure it out. The question is specifically asking for all 3 and. So for pop and fiber and rap. Then I would suggest just writing some framework. But if it's just in terms of the actual Venn diagram, it's just straight off. It's really, really good. We just put this. I'm going to take that. Okay, say it was A, like put it in. Right? Okay, then they asked some questions. So they were now asking for, and again, guys, you don't have to write this in and P and stuff on the side. I just write it so that I remember what they asked. So they asked how many of them like pop and fighter, but not rap. So if we're looking at pop and fighter, that section, but not rap. So we need to leave out those 6, so that's 6. Yeah. No, because that's probability. So if they're asking for the number of people, you have to just say 6. You can't say 6 over 7. Okay, does everyone hear that, guys? That is important. If they're asking for how many people, you have to just say 6. You can't write it as a fraction. Okay, because if you're writing it as a fraction, that's saying the probability, which is not what they're asking for. Okay, how many people like Quito? Only 29. How many people like all 3? That would be 2. Right? Probability of rap only, that is the next question, with 16 over 79. There we go. Then what's the probability of liking pop and fighter? Pop and fighter, so it's 2 parts, so 8 over 79. And none of these could simplify, none of these fractions. And then for the last one, what's the probability of fighter and rap but not pop? So you go to Quito and rap that section, but not pop. Then if you leave out those 2, so that is 4 over 79. Okay, guys, the AP textbook one. I'm sorry, order what I told you yesterday. Actually, this is I don't know. My apologies. I also tried doing it like that at first, and I was like, oh wait. Okay, so guys, there was something very funny about this question, and it was the fact that all the people that do maths also do maths, right? So I'm just going to run through all the information that was given. It was a tricky question. Probably don't have to worry about getting one of this level in your paper exam, but it's good to understand it. Now I can't remember what page I never wrote it down.
Exercise
Yeah.
21.
Wait,
No, the difference 21. And then
oh,
I think.
no, I did take it.
Yeah. No, look. I want a picture of it.
It's fine. And the
Yeah.
yes, okay, I found it. All right, guys. So let's listen up quickly. They're saying there are 126 pupils in grade 10. Okay, so we can at least put that there. 44 people do add maths. All right, so again, let's do that. Let's write our 44 there. 112 pupils do maths. And 90 pupils do science. Guys, again, I just used an SC for science because the S is supposed to be the sample space on the outside. Okay. Now, the first thing that they said, well, the next thing that they said is all pupils who do add maths also do maths. Now, that actually allowed me to fill in 2 zeros because if they say all pupils who do add maths also do maths, you guys agree that there are no pupils that do only add maths and not maths, right? So it doesn't make sense if we can put a 0 there, right? And then if you're looking at this part here, how would I describe this part here, this half of the overlap here? This is add maths and science, but not maths. If I'm talking about this section, right? Just this part here. You had to describe that. That's add maths and science, but not maths. But is that possible? Okay, can someone do add maths and science, but not maths? No. So we could also put a 0 there, right from the start, in this section. Right? Sorry, Audrey, that's what I was going to say. Okay. So these two are actually both 0, and we're literally just getting it from that part of information where they said all pupils who do add maths also do maths. Okay. Then next up they say 30 pupils do add maths and science. So now, let me just show you. This is add maths and science, right? Now, if this whole section is supposed to be 30, I have a 0 there. It doesn't make sense that we have to put a 30 there. Right? Okay, next up. 80 pupils do maths and science. So this is maths and science. Remember, we already put a 30 over there. So if this whole section is supposed to be 80, and that's 50, that must be 50. Yeah. So guys, you could actually only do this question if you recognize that these two would have to be very large.
Didn't recognize the words, but I did come that. That's me.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah. And then I realized,
Okay.
no,
Okay, so what did I fill in now, guys? Let me just make some dots here. I filled in that 0, the 30, and the 50. Okay, so that's what I filled in so far. Then they said, oh, nothing else. Okay, so now from there, I just worked with my totals, right? So if we're looking at add maths, for example, 44 people do add maths. So if I have those 3 already, 44 minus 0 minus 0 minus 50 has to be 40. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you can get your 14. Then you can do the same thing for maths. Yes. So you know that the total is 112. So 112 minus 14 minus 50 minus 50 is 18. And then the same thing for science. 90 minus 0 minus 50 minus 50 is 10. Then, because they didn't say anything about people not doing any of these 3 subjects, you would have to say 126 minus all of these numbers, and you do end up with 4. Okay, so there are actually 4 people in the school that don't do either or any of these 3 subjects. Okay, so 3A, finally, they were now asking for probability question. So guys, does that make sense? Filling in the Venn diagram. Okay, it did all rely on theory or making some kind of conclusion around and that. Okay, the probability that a pupil will take none of these three subjects, so that is 4 over 126, which you must then simplify. Probability that they do maths only, 18 over 126, so 1 over 2. Next one, C, the probability that they do add maths and not science. Add maths and not science, 14, right? Let me just move that up, sorry. 14 over 126, which is 1 over 9, if you simplify it. Next one, maths and science, but not add maths. So let's just look at that quickly. Maths and science is this section, but I'll not add maths. So that's 50. Next. 50 over 126. And then maths or science. Now guys, we haven't really done many or questions. So let's just quickly look back here. Maths or science is all of this. All of these people do maths or science. Right? It's not saying math and science, it's saying maths or science. So these people that do just science and not maths, they do maths or science, right? They do science. So whenever it's an or question, you have to take all of the values in both of those circles and add them together. Okay, because or includes all of them.
Even 50%.
Now guys, if for E you wanted to use the probability identity, but you could have, I would like you just to write this down. Don't know if you guys remember the probability identity, but it says that the probability of maths or science is equal to the probability of maths plus the probability of science minus, can anyone remember? Maths and science. Okay, so I'm going to come back down to this now. I just want to go back up to the picture quickly. I'm going to highlight the town. I'm going to highlight these sections, right? So the probability of maths we'll get by doing the blue circle. You can work that out now. Then we take the probability of science. And what is the science circle? That one. You guys see that we've counted these 80 people twice, which is why we have to minus the and. Okay, the and is included, but the and part is included when we do the probability of maths on its own, and then when we do the probability of science on its own. So that's why the probability identity says if you use that, you actually have to minus that overlapping part, the and, because you've included it twice. Okay. So what's that? So that is 112 and 90 and then minus 80. Okay, so if you wanted to calculate it like that, you would say 112 over 126 plus 90 over 126 minus the and, which was 80 over 126, and you should get to the same answer.
Yeah.
Simplified. Okay, but guys, if you have the Venn diagram, you don't have to use the probability identity. You can just add all those numbers at once. Okay, but if you don't have the Venn diagram, maybe they've just given you probabilities. You are going to do more of those questions later on next week. Then you might have to use this identity. Then you must remember to minus it. Yep. you want to, if you have enough information.
Then. It's recovered together.